And they said, no, 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 because theirs is based on nature and reason, not special revelation from a deity. You know, the strengths of their mind. That's why they had their own cults. They literally created cults based on old Greek and Roman paganism. Let's have a closer look, especially at this guy, Plutarch. So, this is Alan Brown, a consideration of the ideology of the NSDAP in Germany, how socialist was National Socialism. I actually went and bought this because it's maybe the best description of National Socialism. I mean, look, if people don't like the fact that National Socialism was socialist, the Nazis were socialists, then just call it National Communism. Simple. Just say, well, instead of saying National Socialists, just call them National Communists. It's the same thing. And he says here, but Gray utilizes Plutarch to great effect, and the Greek's words could easily read like a description of Nazi Germany. So hold on. The French revolutionaries loved Plutarch. He was apparently the most widely quoted philosopher. And it says here that Plutarch's words read like a description of Nazi Germany. He, the leader, he trained his fellow citizens to have neither the wish nor the ability to live for themselves. No, they were part of the whole, the communistic whole, the communal whole. Like bees, they were to make themselves always integral parts of the whole community, clustering around and about their leader, almost beside themselves with enthusiasm and noble ambition, and to belong wholly to their country. This would be, yeah, fascinating. Communism. Gray's point is that in ancient Sparta, the individual was completely subordinated to the general ends of the community. Such subordination is of the very essence of socialism. Right, so understand also the Spartans, I mean, like when babies are born and they would look at the baby, didn't like it, they would throw it into a ravine to die, right? So yeah, everyone sort of brings up the nice parts that they think are nice and nice about these cultures, but these people were alien to us in terms of their morality. These people were vicious and brutal. They were nasty. So yeah. So Abdelmasih, this is why the World Economic Forum wants to create a new world order based on Marxism. They even have a video that says you will own nothing and you'll be happy. Exactly. France paid very high price for this. All the circle is closing very tight. As far as you're from, yeah. Bertrand Russell says in the Scientific Outlook that in the future, the elite, that includes himself, will eat real meat and steaks, and the rest will eat fake soy meat. Yeah, of course. Okay, so... Okay, let me continue. So now, let's have a look at this here. This is another... This is from a Brill book, okay? Very, very high-level academic. Carolyn G. Bow. Minor marriage in early Islamic law. Revisionist notions assert that typical Roman marriages took place for girls above the age of 18, while numerous studies detail prepubescent marriage of Roman girls and their very early consummation. The Greek philosopher Plutarch assumed the cultural phenomenon of child marriage to lie in the Roman desire for an unformed character and an untouched body. So Plutarch also teaches us that, remember, the French Revolution atheists, right? They were all drawing upon these Greek atheists. They were drawing upon these Greek philosophers and going, oh, the might of Rome and Greece. We just love these philosophies in Rome. And we need to go back to the age of rationality and reason. Yeah, they want to go back to this stuff. They kind of just forgot to tell you this, that these Romans are not Christians. These Romans are not like us. They had a completely different morality. We would see them as brutal today, extremely brutal. Okay? Right, let's continue. So this is by John V. Fleming, The Dark Side of the Enlightenment. I just wanted to talk about this as to the difference in these philosophies and thinking. Atheists do think, I've had atheists tell me that we are gods because we are the pinnacle of creation, therefore we are gods. Okay? What is with these crazy pedophiles and the rationalization of it? Yeah, I know. Ask yourself. Okay, so... Right, let's continue. So, I forgot to... Hold on, let me fix that slide. I see that let me just take the slide away so that I can go back to the page. Okay. For the French revolutionaries, nature was a way to legitimize their policies and laws. Just take that away. Right, so nature's a way to legitimize their policies and laws. And it was equated with the rule of law during the mythical Golden Age. This mythical Golden Age, where we just saw what the little Golden Age was about. A couple of things, like slavery was high on that list too. The leaders of the revolution repackaged pre-Christian religious traditions as a new rational and natural, while this default position apparently means pre-Christian pagan religions that had things like prepubescent diddling, right? And this is a new rational and a new natural religious system for the French Republic. They stripped off the superstition, and obviously then they adopted other superstitions and created their own superstitions based on cults of reason. Right? And they stripped off the superstition of the church and returned man to a mythical golden age guided by general revelation. So they stole all the nonsense from Egypt. Yeah, we'll get into that another time. The cults love the sexualization of young children or killing them. Yes. Under Ceausescu, we had in Romania the national communism, another contradiction in terms. Exactly. But yeah, so this is why distinctions, as Aquinas mentioned and as Aristotle mentioned, is so important. Okay? Right. Now, the new religions of the state would marry paganism to the in vogue natural philosophy and proclaim the new syncretic. That's when you take everything and slam them all together and make one new thing, divine chos. Right? And they would proclaim the new syncretic belief as rational. So notice, oddly enough, the French were taking pagan ideas, calling them natural philosophy, right? The default state. And this was now rational somehow. The French policymakers turned to their personal libraries brimming with philosophers' works and classical literature to gain insight into what primitive religion looked like. They wanted to go to a world before Christianity. So this atheism was not atheist, it was anti-Christian paganism. The appropriation of elements from long-defunct religions and heretical practices served as the revolutionary leaders' way to proclaim that the state's authority for republican government came from nature herself, not the Judeo-Christian God, the church, or monarchy. They were all making it up as they went. They were looking for a way to deny, to reject Christian teachings, the Ten Commandments. Ivan 95 says, you'll find too that many atheist types are moving to worship the AI. This is compatible with Hegelian and Hobbesian and ethical principles. Yeah, look, there's a longer story. You need to listen to Dr. James Lindsay on this. This guy he's on fire right now. Have you heard about communists conducting Satanist rituals while they kill people? Yeah. There's a prison in Hungary or Romania. It's called the worst prison in the world. I can't remember the name offhand. You need to look into that. This one particular torture prison in, I think it's Romania. It is just horrific. And yes, atheism is often cover for Satanism, from what I can tell. Horse says the French stripped off their clothes as well. The bikini. They're all about nakedness, right? So John V. Fleming's book, The Dark Side of the Enlightenment, Wizards, Alchemists, and Spiritual Seekers in the Age of Reason, discusses Rosicrucianism along with alchemy and other occult experiences in England and Germany, with some discussions of the French experience. Enlightenment philosophers throughout Europe nurtured the flame of occultism through practices such as Freemasonry, enabling the fire to flare up again in the Romantic era. Now understand, these guys were chasing after secret knowledge.